how's everybody doing? It's Paul from Magpie 24/7 back again as Newcastle United are looking forward to this weekend and a return to action at St James's Park against Wolves in an absolutely huge, crucial game on the lead up to a certain matchup in 1 week's time from today against Barcelona in the Champions League again at St James's Park. But it's not directly about Newcastle United that we're talking about today. No news breaking today regarding Chelski. So it's not just Man City now who sat on the naughty step. They are joined by Chelsea. The London lads have been sent to go and sit there and think about it for the next week before hopefully we get some answers, a little bit more clarification, and we get some idea of what the consequence of the crimes are going to be. Now, obviously, the new owners of Chelsea, when doing their due diligence on the club, obviously Chelsea were in a little bit of a desperate situation at the time. The deal was proceeded through, but they noticed that there was some irregularities on the book, shall we say, when they were going through it. So they got the price for a little bit, obviously less because of that. And they reported all of their findings through to the FA because sooner rather than later that was going to come out in the wash. Now, for all the accusations that have been chucked at Newcastle United's way, oh, they've been took over by the Saudi state. Oh, they'll be doing this sports washing. Oh, they'll be getting these huge deals in. It just goes to show you that these so-called experts knew absolutely fuck all about what they were bashing on about pre the takeover because it's not Newcastle United. You know, we have been following the rules. No, it's other clubs and Chelsea there pretending that they've, done nothing wrong. The new ownership have come in and they're constantly looking for ways around around the rules, bending the rules. How can we take advantage? How can we navigate around the latest set of rules so that we can literally still spend like a kid going into a sweet shop, 20 players here, 30 players here, stockpiling talent. Yes, spending money like it was literally just water. Obviously, not in the drought times that we're in at the moment, but you get my gist. There comes a time when Chelsea need to step up to the plate and run a ship that sticks to the rules, sticks to the letter of the law, and stop looking to circumvent rules because this is how this problem has come around. Yes, it was under Abramovich, but Chelsea bending the rules and trying to get away with, oh, we'll put so much of your wages through the books of Chelsea and then so much in a third company along the way. And it's wrong. It's crooked. If you're paying a manager to do a job, the payment for that manager should come through the club and through its commercial activities and what it brings in, what it generates through revenue. It should not be coming through, dodgy deals. I mean, who would have thought putting a Russian in charge of something and then being, well, corrupt and so on? Who was shocked at that sort of revelation? I'm certainly not. It's probably just the tip of the iceberg. If this is what they're telling, what else did they find that they didn't want to tell? I suppose at the end of the day, you've got to applaud them for coming out and reporting it to the FA, knowing that they would be facing the consequence. But in saying so, I've heard some Chelsea fans, I've read some Chelsea fans saying, oh, we'll just get a fine or we'll get a lot of off with a warning or whatever. It doesn't work like that. How the hell can it work that everybody and the mother has been shouting at Manchester City for all these months and years? 115 charges, blah, blah, blah. They should get relegation, a huge points deduction. We're talking nearly 3 digit. I've heard some right stuff thrown out about Manchester City so that they'd be relegated. So they've, again, nothing's been proven at the moment. It's alleged on the Manchester City side. But if they have, say, been guilty of whatever that they've done, they should get a sporting punishment. They should get a financial punishment because those are the two areas that they're operating in. That will probably end up in relegation should they be proven guilty. And I think it should be exactly the same for Chelsea. Maybe a little bit off for admitting and highlighting it, but it would have come out in the wash regardless. And what's gone on there is for years and years and years. It's not like a one-off, a one window, a one-time thing. This is a systemic. This is well, it's cheating. Where everybody else is sticking to the rules, it's them lot cheating to gain a sporting advantage. Yeah. So it's only right and it's only proper, surely, if Manchester City proved guilty in the end, would get a financial and a sporting, a points deduction, then surely, by logic, it also means that Chelsea will get the same. Maybe not as much points with them admitting it, a little bit, but we are just talking a little bit of a reduction, not a major amount of reduction, because, like I say, cheating is cheating. If you cheat and then hold your hands up, well, yeah, that's fine. That's what you should do, but you shouldn't have cheated in the first place. And I've heard, again, things on social media, oh, it should be against Abramovich and this, that, and the other. It's not. Yes, there's new ownership, but Chelsea is now what Chelsea was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago. It's still the same club. And if there's a punishment to be meted out, there's a punishment to be dished out, then it needs to be against Chelsea. And it cannot be just financial, because financial, it's like happy days for them. I've got no grief, I've got no beef with Manchester City or Chelsea, but this is just stating the facts. So if it's good for Manchester City, it's good also for Chelsea, and it might just wake up, the current custodians at Chelsea and the rest of the cartel clubs that rules are there to be followed, not just like I say, not just sort of how can we circumvent this? How can we get around the rules? How can we cheat things to our own advantage? You know, um, so be very, very interested to see what Chelsea get, because then when you can, but then you look at the possible Manchester City situation when that comes to its end, which it's gone on for too long, hasn't it? Way, way too long. But there has to be some parity. So many points for what you've done, and yeah, that could leave them. That could leave them in trouble, and it would. I would have absolutely zero sympathy if somebody cheats, if somebody tries to cook the books. You've enjoyed it back in the day when you were getting the success, but clubs like Newcastle United are doing the right thing, are sticking within the spending rules. Look, we had to get rid of Elliot Anderson for 15 million quid, when all the deal was done and whatnot, just to meet these PSR rules and just to stay on the right side of the line. So we've got to do stuff like that in order to avoid consequences. Then again, Chelsea should be no different. They've held their hands up. They've said that they're guilty. They've said that, yes, we've done wrong. So now the punishment needs to be meted out. And like I said, they've got a week to be able to reply to these charges that have been, given to them today. And then I would imagine it would go through to the next stage of it. And then what's the punishment? What's the outcome of it? And yeah, I can see why people would say, look, it's not fair. Chelsea get hold their hands up to what they've done wrong, and they're going to get punished in a quicker time frame than say what Manchester City would do. But again, it's different amounts of wrongdoings, and one club is saying, yes, I have done that, and I'll hand it over to you to decide what the punishment should be. And the other club is still to this day maintaining that they did nothing wrong. And in this country, you are innocent until you are proven guilty. That is the way that it works. Chelsea are guilty. Chelsea have held their hands up and said that they're guilty, and Chelsea must now get the consequences. And like I say, it's just so funny to see this when, like I say, as Newcastle United fans, we've been told for ages, oh, we're everything that's wrong with football and modern football and this, that, and the other. And yet we are on the side of the right, and the likes of Chelsea are not. So all of those wins that they had back in the days, put your little asterisks next to them, because like I say, it looks like they've done it whilst not sticking to the rules and stuff. So interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens in a week's time, what the consequence is. But yeah, let me know down below what you think. Chelsea should get. I've seen some comments that Chelsea should get Everton deducted at some points, and I thought that was actually quite funny. Obviously, with the history that we've all got with Everton as well. But to me, people were talking about nearly three-digit points deductions for Manchester City, and you reckon you've got to be at least 75-80% of whatever you were going to potentially say dish out to Manchester City would be fair to give to Chelsea for what they have done. Happy days. Happy days. I can't wait. The football's back this weekend. Massive, massive matchup. I'll just talk quickly about that before I end today's video. But Yeah, huge game for us. Hopefully we get through it with 3 points, a couple of goals. We get to see the newbies in action, and then we set ourselves up nicely for next week's game. I don't want to think about any other alternatives. And I am quite confident that we will get the victories because we have been playing well. Even in defeat, there's many sides play a lot worse than that and then pick up points. We played well against Liverpool. We were unfortunate. The nature of the game, the passion of the game, and everything else when it was staged, the Isaac stuff and whatnot. Don't really want to have to mention him, but you get it. That was definitely an issue during the Liverpool game. And then I think against Aston Villa and against Leeds, if you go away from home and you're picking up points, that is generally what you want. So I don't think we're a million miles away. I think defensively we've been good. In midfield, we've been absolutely excellent, and it just has been that fact that we haven't been able to stick the ball in the net because we haven't had strikers. Now we've gone from famine to feast. We've got two options to play up there. I know we've got a Sula as well that we could also go up there, but I think we all saw in the Leeds match it's probably not the right time for him yet. But yeah, two quality options to be able to play up top. It'll be nice to be able to see us with a striker in there. And I think it'll be Wissa. I honestly do. I think he'll start this weekend's game up top. Premier League experience, scored goals in the competition, and it takes the pressure off Voltemade to be able to come in and to do what Eddie Howe normally does with players coming in from different countries, different parts of the world. He'll slowly integrate them like he's done with Bruno and so on, and with all the other signings and stuff. Tonali gradually, bit by bit, substitute appearances, and all the time he's building up knowledge through training and tactical sessions that do of what is the expectations, and then he puts them in. And I just think at the moment, Visser is a better fit to start the game. I think we'll definitely see both players at the weekend because I think regardless, if we're chasing the game, I think Voltemade comes on and we go maybe two up top. If the game's comfortable, 2-3-0, second half type job, I think then Visser's taken out, rested a little bit because obviously hasn't played a lot of football until recently. Two matches then in quick succession internationally for the Congo. Um, so I could see a situation where if we are comfortable in the second half, then perhaps Visser comes off and Walter comes on, and we just give him a go as that focal point in the middle. And we take it from there. Obviously, Gordon's going to be missing. That's a bit of a loss. I thought he played quite well, for England in the international game against Serbia. And obviously, as well, we had Tina win that. No injuries, no problems. Great. Dan Burn rested for that game. Should be fine again for the weekend. He'd slot straight back in. And I don't think there'll be many changes at all, to be honest, because like I said, we're not playing that, badly, are we, at the end of the day? Joe Linton, pictured in training, he is likely to come, certainly be pushing for a place back in the team. And he may come back in for Jacob Ramsey because obviously he went off injured in the last game as well. But either which way, whoever we start, whoever's on the bench, it's going to be a strong starting 11 and we'll have plenty of options also from the bench. And how nice is that? Because again, we haven't had that even last season when we had, that Swedish bloke and Callum Wilson. Invariably we had one or the other. It was very rarely that we had both available at the same time. So it's nice that Eddie Howe has different options to be able to call on, choices, decisions to be made, and he's got people on the bench who will be able to change the game, change the system if we need it. At the weekend as well. Interesting to see as well that Strand Larsen may miss this game due to a slight injury, a slight knock, but we'll see. Obviously we did bid for him, we were after him. Has his head been turned? Is he a little bit unhappy? Possibly. Is this not the game to return for him? Perhaps, but we will see at the weekend. He's certainly a great player for them, no doubt about it, and he will have to be reintegrated at some point, so it could come and could start at this weekend at St James's Park in a normal Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff. We haven't had too many of them, have we, recently? But yeah, let me know. Let me know what you think down below in the comments about the Chelsea situation. What sort of punishment should be meted out? 70 odd, 74, 70 odd anyway. charges, plenty of charges to be getting on with. What should be the punishment, both sporting and financial? What do you think that you're looking at? What's your gut reaction? Or is it another case of it's a cartel club, so we'll get that rug and we'll just sweep it all under there because it doesn't matter? Imagine if we'd done it. It would be literally breaking news, wouldn't it? There'll be literally fans of other clubs with pitchforks heading up to the Premier League's head office to have a chat with Richard Masters. You'd have all the other club owners from the cartel lot. Oh, sort that Newcastle United out. So that's why I've got no sympathy. I've got none whatsoever for Chelsea. And if Manchester City's proved guilty as well, I'd have little to no sympathy as well. If you break the rules, if you go against the system, then you've got to expect some sort of consequence in the end. Your cartel status can't protect you from everything all the time. So yeah, let me know down below what you think of the whole issue around points deductions, Chelsea, Manchester City, you name it, put it down there. And who do you think we're going to start with at the weekend? Team news. Obviously, it's Eddie Howe's interview and press conference, isn't it, tomorrow? So we'll get a little bit more information then. But early doors, who do you think we should go with? Who should start up top? Who comes into the midfield? Would you keep Ramsey in? What, a little bit more attack minded if he's okay and fit to go, or would you bring back Joe Linton for that physical presence, that energy, athleticism, covering all the pitch? Let me know down below. And in the meantime, take care, keep it tuned, and I'll speak to you later.